let's get into our question of the day first before we talk about trending topics. So you've heard it in the news, you heard it yesterday. Former Cabinet Minister and ANC Women's League President Batebile Dlamini has been found guilty of perjury. She will be sentenced on April the 1st. What are your views? That's what we're asking you this morning. And you know what this all relates to, of course. I mean, that was the case where she, of course, was before the court, and it was about one of the SASA, the 2017 SASA grant crisis, where she allegedly lied under oath during an inquiry chaired by retired Judge Bernard Nwape. So what are your views? What do you think about this that was handed down yesterday?
You remember that drama around Cash Paymaster Services at the time?
What a drama it was.
About all of that.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So let's see where we go from here. Trending topics, shall we? Quite an easy one, actually, because they're all basically the same.
Hashtag Eskom, hashtag load shedding, hashtag stage 4. So this is where we're at, South Africa. Eskom yesterday announcing stage 4 load shedding that will continue at this point, we're told, until 5 a.m. on Friday morning, at which stage we then revert back to stage 2, at least until Monday 5 a.m. But I think the reality here is that what we need to understand is this could be ratcheted up at any point because the system remains precarious.
Yeah.
So it just be warned, expect the unexpected, or it's, I suppose, the expected at this point, as far as Eskom is concerned. But people also talking about, you know, the leadership at Eskom and why there isn't much of an outcry at this point around this, given that we don't seem to be making any sort of headway with Eskom. But something that stood out for me, not yesterday's briefing, the day before, when they spoke about the units that broke down. And, you know, when you talk about the old fleet and units breaking down there, that's one thing. The problem is the new builds and units breaking down there. Now, what is that about?
Yeah. It's a big problem. It really is. I mean, and this is not just load shedding. I mean, as I said to you as we opened up the show, it's aging infrastructure. It's infrastructure that is falling apart. You know, I mean,
but the new infrastructure is also
falling apart. This is the thing. So it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, when we're living, we haven't got any electricity. We haven't for about, it's going on for 20 hours. And if I look at our schedule, we're now load shedding from 6 o'clock. But it doesn't really make a difference because, you know, the substation it is constantly not working. We're constantly having to get it fixed, and then it breaks again, and then something else happens. And then you hear of the amount of money that it is taking right now. Eskom, pretty much so. I mean, as you heard yesterday, they are burning 9 million litres of diesel a day just to keep us for the moment as we go. And this is
let me do a quick calculation. 9 million litres per day at around R1.47, about 13,230,000 rand
a day.
Per day.
To keep whatever lights are on. This is on top of what's there. Are we talking about a 14 billion rand debt that they're already in?
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
The reality is they are burning all of this diesel to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
We also still have the situation in the Ukraine. So at some point that might become a factor in terms of being able to access the fuel, the diesel. So I don't know.
It is very hard. There wasn't even a threat yesterday of even stage 6 load shedding. So, I mean, I literally looked at the schedule for stage 6. I'm not saying that that's happening. It isn't happening. They haven't announced anything, but I know that there were warnings that the stage could get worse. But, you know, I looked just at where we, you know, if anybody was operating a business from where the areas that I'm affected by, you could literally trade for 2.5 hours in a day. That was all. If you had a business, 2.5 hours is what you could do, because in between that was load shedding the entire time.
With Eskom right now, anything is possible, anything is probable.
Yeah,
that's where
very
it's
much
at.
so. Sakina, I'd like you to take the Zola 7-1 because I'm not sure what's going on. I did have a look and saw a photograph, and
so I think day before yesterday, there were some tweets that came out stating that. Basically asking South Africans to contribute towards a fund that's being established for Zola.
Yeah.
And it basically just said that, you know, he's not well at the moment, and people are being asked to open their hearts and minds. But then everybody started asking for details because, you know, this is a guy who unselfishly gave of himself and helped so many South Africans at the height of his celebrity when he was doing that show. At some stage, it was probably the #1 show in the country, Zola 7.
Absolutely.
And many people wanted to give back, but then nobody was clear about where to contribute, what to do. And then there was a statement issued yesterday from an account that purports to be his, as giving a bank account number, but also stating, you know, he didn't do what he did back in the day so that people could repay the favor, as it were, today. But at this point, it's more about, okay, let's just try and verify what the actual story is. And if there is an account, we will also try and get that, and maybe, you know, we'll tell you once we have verified.
I didn't see that there's a video out here, so I haven't heard the video. I'll have a look at it and see what's actually been said of him speaking. That was a still taken from that video, but nonetheless, Zola 7 is trending, and just I suppose just we need to verify everything, but just looking like he does need that help. It really does.